After a night, I had a girl come up. I'm praying for her, and she asked me to pray for her. She's don't know what she was going through. And I say something in my prayer like, and Lord, I pray you would give her, and I say her, and she looks up and she says, my pronouns are they, them. And she looks up and she goes, do you think God's mad that I'm non-binary? She's dead serious, wow. Right? Like we like make, I don't want to say memes, but I think like that part of the culture has just been like exacerbated to like, we've always demonized until you're face to face with a real 16-year-old girl who's standing in our church building after a night.
Yeah, and she wants prayer. And
she's not trying to be provocative to me. She's not trying, this is her authentic self and her view, right? So like, and she wants prayer. We had a conversation, and I think because I authentically follow Jesus and she's authentically following whatever she thinks she's following, she respects that I'm at least all in with this thing. Mm-hmm. And I'm not like trying to play to like try and get her to be on our thing. I'm just defining this is what we believe. And here's the thing, you don't have to change everything about your life. I go, just keep coming back. Give it I always say this to young people. I go, God's so real that I don't have to prove him to you. He'll prove himself to you if you have an open heart towards it. They were asking me questions of like, what do you do? How do you do this? What does this look like? Some of the campus level guys, stuff like that. And then my sister was like, 2 weeks ago, was getting texts from her class. And they're like, there's photos of, like your guys' structure and system and stuff like that, like in our class. And it's funny because I'm like, I don't feel like we do anything that radically different than other youth ministries. I just think from the very beginning, I think we've just always had like big perspective for it. You know what I mean? Like we got here, COVID, nobody was allowed to gather.
Did you start the youth ministry in COVID?
No. Yes, we did. So it had not met for 7 months when my wife and I got there. There was youth ministry prior to it.
You were coming from Puyallup.
Yeah. Which you would be somewhat familiar with. Yeah.
And you came what month in COVID?
We got here end of April.
And you started meeting outside.
Yeah, like May, we had like leader meetings. We just gather young adults and pray. But like this was still in Southern California, and our church was still pretty like aware of like the community and not wanting to, push boundaries. It was still early on, enough in COVID where people weren't fully like, we're just gonna do our own thing and we don't care if we get citations or whatever. Like that was never our vibe. I know.
The government cannot stop us.
But what's funny is but I've gotten more that way now. That's why I relate with Rogan. Like I think Rogan and I've been on a similar like.
You heard it here first. Ben Graves, Joe Rogan, same guy.
Is there a camera back there? Yeah. What up? So that was like our church. So we were very careful. Like we would like spread people away. And I feel embarrassed saying this now because I feel like a coward. You got guys out here who have been like standing firm, gathering thousands throughout COVID.
I think though it's also kind of tough because you're kind of damned if you do, damned if you don't.
Right.
Like there's so many churches that kind of fell apart because they were too masked, and there's so many that fell apart because they weren't masked enough. Like meaning people fell.
Well, here's my thing too is I think some churches won in that season with Christians who aligned politically and aligned ideology in the same ideology as them. But fast forward 4 years, there were still, like even in our city, this is what I'm aware of, this is why I'm careful of it. A lot of my friends in Texas and other parts of the country, I'm like, you should have acted the way you acted. We just had an election 2 weeks ago.
We did?
Yeah, our county was 58% to 42%, blue to red.
Yeah.
So like, as a shepherd, I just go, why would I, want to do anything that would be a detour like, more than half of our target audience if we want to reach. When it's simple stuff like that. I'm talking about, we stand on conviction, stand with the Bible 100%. Like, but in that time, when you're just trying to figure out, everyone's trying to figure out what do we do, we were careful with it. But so we just started in the parking lot, literally. And for the first 4 weeks, it grew by 100 kids every week. It was like, had 100 kids in the parking lot, next week 200, next week 300. And then the fourth week, I had my youth pastor from Puyallup come down to speak. And we walked down the stairs, and I still remember this. Like we come down to our parking lot, and it was just a sea. At that point, you would ask me, we had 5,000 kids there. It was just like our whole patio is just like flooded with young people, and it was like a cool moment for me because the guy that like had poured everything into me now shows up to the first thing in our youth ministry, and he was psyched, I was psyched, and then it's just kind of been this process of figuring out how do we like actually disciple these kids and adding structure and systems and leadership things to it. And it's been a journey now the last 4.5 years, kind of working from there. But that was the catalytic moment for us, was utilizing a horrific thing like COVID, but in our community where like so many athletes, so many skaters, so like that could not go do the thing they wanted to do. We provided that for them because the blessing of our campus being perfect for outdoor church.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, where we had like a stage and an LED wall outside, and like we're doing full band worship and altar calls. And I had shout out John Keith. He's a San Diego rapper. We had John Keith come out like 3 months into it, and he performed outside in our parking lot for like 400 kids. He had no show. He couldn't do anything, you know. And but we were getting shut down by the cops because the neighbors were getting mad. It was like, actually, I look back and it was so much fun because we had so many volunteers, like, because we had to set everything up and tear everything down, and everyone was just like psyched on it, showing up every week, you know, pitching in, doing what they could to help it happen.
You've told me this before, but you and I, we both grew up in pastors' homes.
Yeah.
You didn't really feel like you wanted to go, or what we use in like Christianity, like the call, until later on in life, right? Like, what were you wanting to do in high school, and when did that shift for you to feel like, man, I actually think I want to be a pastor?
Yeah, I mean, I don't know your experience, you know, in context to mine, but it was very much so my parents never forced it. You know, and I have incredible parents, honor them, like in the most genuine way, like would not be who I am without them. But I was modeled like a church plant, I would say, prior to ARC, and like structure behind it. It was like you have a dream and you drive a U-Haul into a city and you just like set up in a school. So like a lot of and then growing up in a really affluent area, we were just always, you know, not doing super well financially, and in context we were fine, like God was providing for us. But as a kid, I was comparing. I went to private school. My parents did whatever they could to put us in private school.
Where'd you go to school?
Tri-City.
Okay.
Yeah, so like all my friends are like, I'd go to their house and it would be, you know, baller, and they were all getting to do stuff, and I felt, for me, my only thing was like, why would I want to go down this path that leads to like not owning
abject poverty?
Okay. Right. And that was honestly the big thing for me. And then I just got into football and, you know, parties and that whole kind of thing. And I honestly never went crazy. I still love God, so, you know, but it was just never a thought in my mind. I thought I was going to go maybe be a police officer or go into business or something like that. And then my uncle planted that church my senior year of high school here and asked me to come down and like help set up and tear down. And context of our church, like prior to myself getting here, the youngest person on staff was like 37. Now there's like 11 of us 30 and below. So like even my context of like youth ministry and pastors were all like 20, 30 years older than me. Mm-hmm. And then I come to my uncle's church plant and there's all these like 22, 23-year-olds helping my uncle pull off church. And it was the first time I saw like young people loving Jesus, fired up about the local church, but also not being like a weird dad small group leader, you know, who's like telling you to like shut up, be quiet, you know.
Yeah, be quiet. It's time for Bible study.
Porn. That, you know, like it was like it, you know.
Stop watching porn.
So that was the like, and then I'm hanging out with these guys who are like young and cool, and I was like, I actually could like, I got a, you know what it was? I got a vision.
Following Jesus can actually be.
I got a vision of it. You know, like I think a lot of times, and that's what I think with youth ministries, you just got to give them a vision of what it means to follow Jesus. Like give them a vision of what it means to be 27 and married. Give them a vision of what it means to be 27 and understand the culture, know the culture, but like be in love with Jesus, like, and just try and model that to the best you can. You know, be a dad, whatever the thing is you're doing, just like do it authentically. And not that adult youth group leaders weren't doing that. It's really hard at 17 to like see yourself in
like a 50-year-old dad,
in Bob, who's 75, and you're, you know, whatever. So that changed my life forever. Like when they planted this church, and that led to me saying like going to this ministry school, and then kind of randomly got hired, like literally on like a week's notice. I got a call, some stuff had happened, and they're like, hey, will you be one of the youth pastors here? I was on Christmas break, and I was like, yeah, let's do it. So I went from like 1 week, had preached one message ever in my life, you know, to having to preach every week. And it was a large youth ministry. I mean, 200, 300 kids every week, and figuring it out. So did that for 2 years up there, and then COVID happened. And the dream all along was like probably come back home and build what I wish I had when I was in high school, and never really did. So I started youth pastoring at 20. So this is going into year 7 of it.
Did you grow up in San Diego County?
Whole life.
Were you
born in LA.
Okay.
Yeah.
What part of LA?
My parents were a part of Jack Hayford's church up there. I don't know if you're familiar with Church on the Way. So the Valley, just.
How old were you when you moved to San Diego?
I would have been like almost 4. Yeah. So
Do you
most
remember LA at all? Like,
only because my
there?
whole dad's side of the family all lived there my entire life. So it was like probably once every couple months we were going up to grandma's house or to uncle and aunt's house and stuff like that. A lot of them are still all there.
And when you guys moved, did you move straight to Carlsbad?
Encinitas. They play at the Encinitas Community Center.
No way.
Yeah, bro. Sorry, it started at a park. They met at a park.
Dude, outdoor to outdoor.
Yeah.
Let's go.
And then a community center, and then the building we're in now was a Southern Baptist church that was going downhill, and my dad had this younger church that was just kind of growing, and we ended up taking over it and moving into the building, and this was now like 15 years ago. So.
And so, did you become like a Raider Dodger fan from your dad being from LA? Is your dad from LA?
Yeah. So like, if
I'm
you
gonna scoot my chair forward. Get ready, everybody. Hey, thank you so much for joining the radio. Real quick, if you have not heard of Divine Persuasion Studio, we are a creative agency that works with churches and nonprofits and thought leaders, and we are starting 2 brand new services: full service web development and social media management. If you're looking for help in any creative service in the marketing world, but specifically around web development, social media management, design, and motion, we would love to serve you. Head over to our website, click book a demo, and myself or one of our team members will reach out to you quickly. Cannot wait to serve you. We already love working with you. Let's bring the gospel to the world together. Peace. But real, like, sign up. No, just go to our website and click the button, please. You probably at least need like a 15-minute consultation because you guys need some help. If you're looking at hiring someone, look no further.
He just farted. Yeah. So if you go to my grandparents' house right now.
My sons, if they hear that, will laugh so hard. Thank you, bitch. Let's go. Love you, Ev. Love you, Sunday.
Sunday's an amazing name, by the way.
Man.
That was
Sunday
the name
Jones
of my first
McKinney.
dog.
It was?
Yeah, she died in 7 days, but
Wow, how morbid.
I know. It was it was a sad thing. So then it was Sunday.
Can we talk about something? No,
7 days later, we got a dog named Monday, and now my dog is Tuesday. So those are our dogs' names.
Why do you kill all your dogs, man?
No, Monday's still alive. She's flourishing, doing well.
You have 2 dogs now?
No, like this is like in my family. Like my wife and I's dog's name is Tuesday.
Okay. What kind of dog do you have?
I don't know if I just say it on here because some PETA people get mad because it's not an adopted dog.
Oh, that's okay.
Oh yeah,
they can deal with it. If you are so worried about everyone needing to adopt a dog, you can go adopt them all.
My dog is Mormon, so like, he's from Utah. Like, like the dog account we got him.
Does he know the Mormon handshake? He's from the Church of Latter-day Saints.
Yeah, him and I debate. We're trying to convert him. No, the breeder we got him from. Like, they have Instagram accounts now. It followed one person, and the one person it followed was the Church of Latter-day Saints.
Are you serious?
The dog account. Yeah, I don't know how we got. Oh, because your daughter's name is your daughter, right? Son.
Yeah.
Would you call him Sonny?
We actually thought we'd call him Sonny.
Do you know who Sonny Garcia is?
Yeah.
The server.
Yeah.
It's a sick name.
Yeah, it is a sick name. We thought we would call him Sonny. Mainly, so his middle name is Jones, and I don't know how it happened, but
Sunday
it's really
Jones.
appropriate. He's like so full of joy, so Sunday is super fitting.
Yeah.
But a lot of times, I don't know who developed it. I think one of my cousins or one of his uncles started calling him Bones one day, and so that's really fitting. We call him Bones a lot too, and he loves it. He's like a tough, he's like the classic second son who's like fearless, happy-go-lucky, and tough. It's like the ultimate defender of his brother. No, you haven't. You haven't met any of my kids. You haven't even met my wife yet. I don't think. No, there's no way.
I don't think I have.
There's no way, bro.
Yeah, every time I see you, you're solo. Yeah.
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 This is true.
Oh,
but tell me about your dog.
My dog?
Okay, what were you going to say?
I was going to say Dodger Padre, or the Dodger.
Wait, tell me about your dog, and then let's talk about the unfortunate endeavor that is your sports fandom, but maybe it's kind of nice on the Dodger side.
I don't know how much.
What kind of dog is it?
Oh, he's a Irish setter doodle.
I don't know what that is. Now I got to look.
Dude,
Irish?
So he has like super long ears, like an Irish setter, because they're like hunting dogs. But then he's fluffy like a doodle.
Matt, will you put one of these up?
Yeah, he's so sick.
Will you, Matt? All right, thank you, bro. Doodle?
Yeah.
How big is it?
He's like 50 pounds.
That's awesome.
We got him before we had
Oh my goodness, dude. That's so cute.
Yeah, he's cool. He's cool.
Which coat would it be more like?
He's like lighter. Yeah, like this guy right there. The bottom left.
This one? And with the sun on his face?
Right there. Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
Just
bro.
like that. Yeah.
We have a miniature golden doodle. Mm-hmm. And so he's like super light, but this is stunning.
Super similar.
I really want to get a big dog next.
Yeah. Dude, like I've
like
taught him, like he does the full hug. Like,
are you serious?
Yeah. I don't do like cool tricks. I do like tricks that are like affectionate, you know, like
I just want to
I go like this and he'll jump up and he'll just lay there, you know. It's super cool.
That's the best. So, but you were going to talk about your Dodger fandom. So did your dad grow up in Los Angeles?
So like if you go to my dad's parents' house to this day, there's a room that's dedicated to Dodger memorabilia. Like it's just
for real.
Yeah, like lights out. It's really cool. So we got into it, and shout out Dave Roberts. He goes to our church. He's one of my dad's closest friends.
That's awesome.
So we all kind of went.
Dude, he was a great Padre while he was here too.
He was. You can't hate him.
I love Dave Roberts.
Yeah.
It's interesting. I just don't really like the fact that the Dodgers beat the Padres.
Yeah,
but it's hard.
Fun. We were golfing 2 weeks ago, and we got paired with 2 random guys who are diehard Padres. We were playing actually not far from here, like in Mission Valley.
Yeah.
And they're sitting there just trash talking, you know, like the Dodgers organization. And
you were with Dave?
No. They just start bringing up Dave's name, and I get like defensive, you know.
What did you do?
Nothing. I bowed down. But like in my heart, I'm just wanting to snap back. Yeah. You meet 2 random people that are just with you, and you don't want to make them mad. But
you don't want to like cuss them out and then be like, hey, you want to come?
But
to
like generally knowing this, like he's an incredible leader. Loves Jesus. His kids are phenomenal. His marriage is awesome. They're just the best.
He seems like an absolutely awesome. I'm so happy for him, and I think just as a sports fan, as I've aged, I refuse to like hate players or hate coaches. I just think it's
because they're real people.
And also respecting greatness is like so necessary. Yeah. And he's now cemented himself as one of the greatest managers in the history of the game.
That's why I'm so.
And so hating him is just silly.
I'm so glad they won this year because it's like, you know, it would have been a tough. Now you can't deny stats, most winning manager, in baseball history. I mean, he's done all the stuff, but like to get through the last 3 years have just been tough to get through that. Yeah, get through the Padres. Honestly, it's been tough. So it's
not tough enough, unfortunately.
Yeah. So like this was like the sickest moment. So like my dad just being close to them and all. I've had like cool moments. We got to bring my grandpa like down to the field and the dugout, and like it's like my grandpa's screensaver on his phone still. There's photos in his room of my kid.
How old is your grandpa?
76 or 7.
Dude, for something
like that.
To be special like that to a man that age, it just. Yeah. Sports are beautiful.
Like he legit. I have a screenshot of the FaceTime call when Walker threw the final pitch, and he is crying on FaceTime. 77-year-old man. But he's the guy who like watches every game.
Yes.
And when you're retired, you're not doing. Like he just that's his thing. So
what's your grandpa's name?
Chip.
Dude, no way.
Yeah.
Let's go, Chip the Dodger fan.
Yeah, I bet it's short for something and I should know, but that's just what it's granddad Chip.
Oh my gosh.
So they're just the best. Yeah. And then the Raider thing has just been, my dad was in LA in the 80s and when they were in the Coliseum and that was like what you did. And the cool thing with Raider fans, I wanted to say this, you are one of the only loyal Charger fans. I have my friend Nick and you are the only 2 people I have left in my life that have like stayed with them through this whole thing. But the thing with Raider fans is like once you go in with them, you just don't.
The Raider Nation.
You don't leave.
The Raider fan base is one of the most rabid, and I mean that in every sense of the word.
Yeah. I do feel safe. Like when I go, like just being a Caucasian, just basic looking white guy, and I show up to games, like especially as a kid, like coming here at Qualcomm, and I would wear a Raiders jersey. You just feel protected. Like there's an army of people that got your back. You know what I mean? So I dare some drunk Charger fan to try something.
Dude, what's funny is I'm sure, as you know, every Raider Charger game I've ever been to, which is too many, there's a fight. Like Raider and Charger fans. That when you DM me when I took my boys to the game last year, and which you can talk about what happened the second time we played, but the game in LA last year, and I was up. My buddy Danny Hoyt does. We
were there together. I was there too.
You were actually at the game?
Yeah, I was there too. It was sad. We left at the.
That's why we didn't see each other?
Yeah. Well, I didn't notice until afterwards. Like I looked on my phone.
But you DM me gross, barfing because we're yelling Chargers, and literally as we're yelling it, there's like 3 fights breaking out over there. Just like I was like,
you have Qualcomm though. Like I have legendary stories there as a kid.
Oh, dude, Qualcomm was wild.
Yeah, I had 12 years old. I'll never forget this. A Charger fan dump a Coors Light down my back.
How old? You're 12? Were you talking trash?
No, I mean, like, I was just, like, excited, like your son. Like, I was just, like, we scored, which didn't happen a lot, and I was fired up, and jumped up, and I was wearing a Jamarcus Russell jersey or something, you know.
What a rough jersey to wear.
And I was just
should have been Woodson.
I was fired up, and next thing I know, I just get hit with this.
Who were you with?
My dad. My dad turns around and starts flipping out. This dude is like piss drunk, and all I remember about him is he was missing a finger because he looked up at me like this, and he had like a missing finger.
My name is Indigo Montoya. You killed my father. It's the opposite, right?
I hope the best
for the man
him
with
now. Maybe he's come to our church. Yeah, who knows? You know, but yeah,
he's gonna come and apologize on Sunday.
Yeah, but I was to say that you're like one of the few that have like stuck with him. You know what I mean? Like I don't have many friends who are. It was so fun though, like being like in school here. I just like being the antagonist. Like you know, it was all
you play it well.
Yeah. There's like some youth students that I think like deconstructed because I talked so much crap to them on DMs like after they graduated, like Padre fans and stuff like that. He used to be so nice to me, and now he won't leave me alone.
Now that I left to USC, Pastor Min isn't nice anymore.
It's either that or you're in a fraternity, and it's one of the two, you know. But yeah, I love it. I think it's fun that you're a Charger fan. I think it's cool.
It is fun, and we're so much better than your terrible team.
This year, you 100% are.
Yeah, it's 100%. Not close. It's like a light years world of difference.
I don't know light years.
Oh, I think so.
You guys play dirty football. Like in this, it's just like grimy right now.
Oh yeah, it's Jim Harbaugh is like an ode to what football used to be, except now Greg Roman has opened up the playbook for Justin Herbert, who I think is undoubtedly and very biased a top 3 quarterback in the NFL. Hobbs?
Is it what's the dude who got hurt? Great story, Charger dude.
J.K. Dobbins.
J.K. Dobbins.
Oh,
yes,
dude, incredible.
He's sick.
I was a big fan of his in college too, because if NFL fans, you know, like when Zeke Elliott came out, like the most heralded back of a while, and then remember, I don't know if you remember this, but I remember it so clearly. Ezekiel Elliott like crowned J.K. Dobbins as like the running back of the future for Ohio State. Yeah. And then for him to have all the injuries and come back as a Charger is fun.
He's balling
for
out
sure.
now.
Oh
he's
my
God.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He is.
That's good.
I love the Chargers. And growing up here, I was just talking to somebody about it the other day. But when they left in 2016, it was one of the hardest things in my life. Or was it 2017? I think 2017 was the first year.
Because you were like
gone.
at the last game.
Yeah.
Like you were. And now Thompson doesn't even exist, bro.
I know, bro.
It's
Snapdragon is a far better stadium than Qualcomm was, but so small comparatively.
And SDSU, no one cares.
Yeah. It's tough.
Yeah.
I'm a big San Diego State basketball
has more
fan,
people attending.
Yeah, the football games, they don't show the stands. Have you noticed?
No,
it's like
our campus pastor took their kids to the game, and literally, I only said it because like the youngest son said something to the dad's like, "Dude, there's more people that go to youth than there are at this game right now." Because it was like a Sunday afternoon game too. Randomly playing on a Sunday afternoon.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, or maybe it was a Monday. It was a Monday. Yeah, they were playing on a Monday, but that's what happens when you're San Diego State.
Yeah,
they just need money, bro.
Yeah, and
buy teams these
the
days.
NIL deals now, like San Diego State basketball's, it's going to be harder. Like a lot of guys have dipped now because they're just going to get more money. And football is going to be tougher because there's never really been. Rocky Long had a decent program for a second, like a few 10-win seasons, bowl games, but it's just. And now they're in the Pac-12. That's like basically just we went WAC.
It's Mountain West
to Mountain West.
Yeah,
it's just like WAC 4.0 now.
Yeah,
it's like they just keep
I'm
on going. I'm
surprised you haven't gone in with the Cardinals. Like Kyler's fun.
Actually, we went to the Cardinals Charger game.
I've heard the vibes are good there.
It's a great stadium. I actually like the Cardinals. Kyler's amazing. I'm a big Marvin Harrison Jr. fan.
Yeah,
I think James Conner is sick.
Yeah,
I like their coach McDonald.
Yeah,
he's a really good coach. Is it McDonald or is that the coach for the Hawks? I think it's McDonald, right?
I don't know. I don't follow my
but I like the Cardinals, but I love the Chargers so much. It's like my favorite thing in the world, unfortunately. But now we're in a good.
Yeah.
I think in the next 10 years we'll get a Super Bowl with Harbaugh and Herbert. I really do.
It'd be the first one too.
Yeah.
Yeah. We have a couple. Yeah.
All right, John Madden. When was that the last one with Madden? Because did you go to the Super Bowl when they lost to the Buccaneers?
It was in San Diego too.
Yeah.
No, I don't even know if we lived here yet. Like we maybe. I have a memory of like us coming down and scouting it, and all the signs were up.
So
Rich Gannon.
Yeah, Gannon, Jerry Rice,
That was
Tim
when
Brown.
we played the Bucks, and Gruden
Warren
went to the
Sapp.
Bucks.
Yeah.
The next year after coaching us. Yeah. Turns into a.
For whatever reason, I was in like 5th grade. I know, seriously. Yeah. Welcome to Divine Persuasion Radio. I was in like 5th grade, and my aunt had gotten my brother's cell phone, so I got one too, and I would always lose mine.
Yeah.
And it broke, and when my family went in to get it fixed, they got entered into the Super Bowl raffle, and our family won 2 tickets. And I was
No
like
way.
desperate to go, but my brother and my cousin got to go instead of me because I was
That's
too
so
young.
sad.
Yeah. But, you know,
I met your
it
brother
happens.
this year.
Jesse?
Actually. Yeah.
Where?
In Vacaville.
Oh, for like a conference or
He
something?
was just there.
Dude, he's the freaking
Kicking it.
best, bro.
Yeah.
He's an absolute genius.
Yeah.
He's good at everything.
Yeah.
Practically raised me.
Yeah.
I wanted to ask you though, how long have you been married?
3.5 years.
And how old is your baby?
15 months.
How has it been so far?
Amazing.
I feel
but
like
hard.
terrible.
I like, no, yeah, it just gets super. No, I mean, I'm being honest with you. I think it's had its struggles for sure. In the
What's
sense,
been difficult?
you know, I feel like we just got the rhythm of like what it meant to be married,
Mm-hmm.
and not to overplay or to underplay it. I feel like I run at a pretty fast pace, ministry wise, probably for how long I've been in it. So I feel like we kind of just figured out like how to do marriage, and then we added the baby to it, and it's been definitely just a whole nother level of like, honestly, just dying to myself. You realize how selfish you are. You know this,
Bro.
right? Like I'm like, I didn't realize I had this much selfishness inside of me still. You know what I mean? But
It's
at
so
the
real,
but at the
bro.
exact same time, it's like literally the best thing that's ever happened.
It's
When
the
changes
greatest gift of all time and the greatest job we'll ever have is being
Yeah.
a father.
Yeah.
But how much it reveals in you, like pride
So true.
and selfishness and
Yeah.
just like your self-servience, because you think, and I'm assuming you would agree, but tell me if you don't, when you get married, you're like, oh my goodness, like this is going to be a whole new world, and it is, and it's an adjustment and it's different. But I think for guys like us that like you're excited for marriage, like, dude, I found the person I want to spend the rest of my life with, and both of us got married fairly young, especially as compared to culture.
Sure.
It's not the craziest adjustment ever, you know?
No, it
is,
felt
but-
like an amazing addition to
Right.
my life. This feels like my life got blown up and
Yes.
restarted in a whole new way.
Yeah. It's like everything you do is now different. Like you're responsible for a human being eating every day. You're responsible
Yeah.
for a human being having clothing, and then
Yeah.
also for like making sure they don't choke or die or whatever. Like
Yeah.
your parents aren't coming over every day to help. Like this is
No.
every once in a while. Now that we have 3, it's not as much.
whole
But
different-
early
yeah.
on, my wife and I would look at each other and be like, "Wait, like no one's coming to help us.
us.
Like
Yeah.
we gotta raise these things.
It's
Like
just
these
you
are
and I.
these are our humans."
And then I've started to get like meta with it, where I'm like going, wow, the way I talk, she's gonna mimic, and the way what I watch, she's gonna mimic, and like
Absolutely.
every
What
detail
did
of
you
my
name
life.
her again?
Banks.
Dude,
Yeah.
such a beautiful name.
Yeah.
What's her middle name?
Cameron.
Dude,
Yeah.
great job. Great
Yeah.
job, Brooke.
Yeah, honestly, that's props to Brooke. Yeah, so it's just been that, dude. Like it's a whole different world. But I feel like more now, like so she's like walking and kind of talking, and
Yeah.
you know, like can open doors and walk through.
When's
her
her birthday?
Oh my gosh, July 27th. There we go.
23?
Yeah,
Dude, my daughter's just like about 2 months younger. That's crazy.
Yeah.
We're June 4, 23.
yeah,
So fun, bro.
yeah. So it's literally insane. Like I still have moments where I'm like, I look at her and I'm like, this feels like a dream a little bit. You know what
Yeah.
I mean? But at the same time, this is the thought I keep having is I'm like, it sounds so dumb. It looks so, but I go, what I am to her is what like my dad was to me, in the ways of like how aware you were as a kid of like, you'd watch your dad and just be like
in awe.
you know what I mean? Like how he talked to friends, how he used his phone, how he like drove, how he,
Yes,
what he
yes.
ate. I'm like,
how can he pick that up?
yeah, you know what I mean? And now I'm like, that's me to her. And it's been like a real good revealer of a lot of things that we just got to work on. You know what I mean? Like we had a conversation. We just moved, and we were like really talking about even like alcohol. We were like, what do we want to have out at the house? What do we not? How did our parents do it? What do we want? You know,
Just like we want to have
when we were
Hennessy. We want
well, like when we were single, it was like we always had like a bar cart. Like and
Yeah.
it was mainly decor, but like it just was like always like out in our
mainly
house.
decor.
Yeah, mainly decor.
No, I feel you.
And but it was like we were like, she's now like walking around. Do we want to like? So we've just been making more decisions with that conscious in our mind. You know what I mean? Of like, what do we want? Someone told me, he's like, your kid is like the most important discipleship relationship you ever have. It's like a real churchy way to say it.
Dude, yeah.
But like I think through like a lot of the guys like Marcus is here and a lot of the guys that like walk closely with me and those types of relationships, I'm like even more so this is like every aspect of my life will be reproduced in her, or she'll resent it, you know? So it's like, it's such a good, that's why I think the God created the way it should. It's such a
Absolutely.
good sanctifier for every single man and woman, but I think especially for dudes, like,
bro, like especially if you follow Jesus, I think Jordan Peterson says it well, like, what right do you have to go try to change the world if you can't like lead and love your family well? Like, get your house in order first.
Yes.
So convicting, bro.
Oh,
Like,
man.
for guys like
and
us,
and my wife knows, this is so funny. I'm just airing our grievances on here, but like a lot of our
Sorry, bro.
yeah, no, she'll love it. Like a lot of our argument, like she knows the things to say that will get me to like change. She'll be like, oh wow, like really, you're gonna read your Bible like that at church, but you're not gonna read the Bible to your kid here at home, like that kind of stuff. Or like, I saw how you prayed like at church this Sunday. Why aren't you praying like that to your daughter when you put her to bed? Like those types of things. And we'll like poke and play like that, but at the same time, it's so true. It's like, man, like I can't do a better job, with some intern guy who's working with us, pouring into him, than I am with my wife and my kid here, and I think that's why I'm blessed, like you, like starting it young. Like I can kind of already see like the type of guy it's going to create me to be, you know what I mean? Like 10 years down the road, just walking through this now, I'm like, praise God. Like,
it's interesting because I feel like, and this is not to throw shade at anyone, I'm not even thinking of anyone specific, but there's every successive generation, there's been pastoral leaders and Christian thinkers and talkers and communicators who have a ton of charisma that like don't do a great job with family. Sure. And it's crazy to me how growing up, I was like, dude, how could they do that? Like, dude, are you kidding me? Like, you can't stay with your wife, or you can't spend time with your kids. Like, your kids hate the gospel or don't want to go to church, or whatever the case may be. Yeah. But now as I've aged, I'm like, oh, dude, this isn't that easy.
No.
Like, it's not, you don't just get to like snap your fingers and you have a happy marriage and you have happy, healthy kids. Like, it takes so like real daily initiative and work. And I don't know about you, but I'm a little bit older. I got you by 6 years and a couple more kids. But I thought that like if you are just really disciplined and you try your best, that it kind of works out. But it's so much more like, dude, I need Jesus every day to survive as a husband, as a father, as a human, as an entrepreneur, as someone doing ministry of sorts. And so I admire you just like as a homie, as a friend, the fact that you're realizing all that now, because it's more mature than I was at 27, like thinking through these kinds of things, for sure, bro. For sure.
No, that's the thing where I'm like, it's changed who I look up to a lot as well. Like I think I used to probably be way more attracted to like a gift or a product or a talent, like, oh, this person can design, or this person can preach, or this person can do X, Y, Z. Yeah. And genuinely, it's like, I'm more fascinated now with like the culture of someone's home. Like, you just go to someone's house. Like, and your parents' house were like this, but I'm like, it wasn't an accident that like our home had peace, and our home, like, even though things were crazy, that like the things were the way they were. I'm like, how did you do that? I'm like, along with also maintaining like a church and a ministry and I think the things that were cliche when you weren't married, you didn't have kids, like, they'd be like, family first ministry, family. Like, you just kind of off put. It's like hitting me in the face right now, in every way, like how true and heavy those statements actually are. But it's not like a David Goggins video where you just like, I'm just going to work hard to do this. It's aspects of working hard, but it is like, it's so spiritual, and it's all comes back to maintaining a healthy soul within you, and everything else flourishes from there. I think a lot of times like the burnout thing and stuff like that is like trying to accomplish God's thing, but doing it our own way. And then everything else breaks down because of it. And I think the biggest thing is that, so you come home from whatever you're doing in the day, like the second job then starts, the most important job then starts. And like that whole like giving leftovers when you get back has been the thing. Like, I'm getting leftovers my soul, leftovers my emotion, leftover conversation. And it's like, how do I then reverse this so that the best parts of my day are given to broken banks and hopefully more kids soon? And like, they're getting the best version of me, not our team, not our church, not our, and that's why I'm so impressed with guys who are in their 60s, 70s, who have kids that want to hang out with them still and love them still.
That's the goal.
Yeah, I was just at a conference this last week, and someone asked me, like, what did you get away from it. I was watching this dad in the front row, watching all his kids like lead and do worship and preach and all the things. And all of them like live in the same town still, love him. They do family dinner once a week, like, and he's just there filming and watching his kids like build a movement, you know. And I was like, the coolest thing was watching Pops, like, because I was just sitting there going like, God, would you please give me something like this one day, you know, where like my kids love me, respect me, I still get to do the thing I want to do, I don't disqualify myself, I don't, you know.
Yeah.
And also there be like a lineage and a generation through me of like people who still want to follow Jesus and pursue him in whatever capacity that looks like, you know. So I'm just more attracted to those types of guys now, you know, who, especially doing youth, like when I meet a kid who's like genuine and loves God and loves, I'm always like, who's your dad, bro? You know what I mean? I'm like, how did he do this? You know, like I'm always, you know, and it's funny, like people always ask that, you know, like my parents, I think what I love about them is all four of us are like, in our own way, no one's perfect, but like have somehow found themselves like still with a solid relationship with God, either in ministry or not, but like giving to the local church, you know, adding value in the relationships, married young, you know, or on the track there, you know, like, and it's just made my respect for them go through the roof, you know what I mean? Because I'm like, man, this is not as easy as, you know, as it make it look, and we're just in the beginning of it. And I think that's the scary thing. It's like it's the one decision you make that you're committed to at least 18 years of, like, you know what I mean? Like,
and ideally after 18, they're self-sufficient, you know, because maybe they're gonna have to keep coming back for another 10.
Yeah. But I love it. I need to be asking you the questions on it because I have no idea right now. We're just figuring it out.
I mean, my oldest is 8, so I'm 8 years in, bro. But I think I told you this. I'm coaching both my boys in football and in soccer. Bro.
What a dream!
Oh my gosh, it is so freaking.
Do you ever
fun.
get those reels on your phone of like the baseball dads raging at umpires?
No, I haven't. Send me some.
I will. So
it's like they're losing their minds.
Yeah, like punching an umpire because they have a bad call, or like flipping out because their kid gets, you know, like a bad call and they'll run out on the field.
They're literally fist fighting an umpire.
I'll send you this video.
What age are the kids?
Oh, like 5th grade.
Dude, that's so sad. It's like so ruinous for these children.
Yeah. Well, the best was there's one. It's like.
I mean, I'm gonna laugh for
sure. They
sure.
look like they were 8 years old, and it's like, but they're just learning the pitch, and this 8-year-old throws a pitch, and it hits the 8-year-old who's like at bat, and like you could tell it hurt the kid or whatever, and then the dad just sprints onto the field and like gets in the face of another 8-year-old who's like pitching, and is like, why did you do this? And I'm like, well, it's sports. Like that's kind of how. Like things like
He's
that.
Probably
happen.
a Raider fan.
Probably. Yeah. It's so funny. Yeah, Raider fans are wild. But
antagonistic for sure.
Yeah.
You have that antagonistic gene in you about your sports fan for sure.
I'm a menace, dude.
It's the best.
I'm a menace. If you're my friend and I DM you, you know I'm a menace.
I love it.
Yeah. We have our staff first student flag football game.
Oh, when is that?
The end of the Turkey Bowl.
And, what position did you play in high school?
You know, man, like all of them. Just like
That's so
yeah, whatever they need me to do. Yeah. I mean, I played like wide receiver.
Would that have been like your favorite or best? Or?
You know, I was like first team all league. You know, I don't want to brag about it, but in like the small
you
school.
played against my brother-in-law, right?
Yeah, I did.
He was younger than you, though. I think he's like 25.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I have a crazy memory with him.
Really?
But I don't know him. So
Playing
I don't
football?
Yeah. And I think he went on to like do bigger things in sports.
He became really good. Like his senior year, he was basically untouchable.
It was a legendary
he
story.
went to varsity as a freshman, I think.
I think he was a freshman. I was a senior. But there's like a legendary story. This kid, I don't know. It's always funny how like this is why you can't get mad at sports because everyone's got their own like underdog story.
Yeah.
A kid on our team was tore his ACL 3 years in a row. So his senior year, he's a senior with me. His first game back.
In high school?
Yeah, like
God
so his
almighty.
first game back was we're playing. What school is it?
Classical
Academy.
Because you guys were that would have been like a rivalry game, right?
Yeah,
you play each other like every
yeah.
year, same league.
We
maybe
won most times, but yeah, we'd play them. It's still bitter. So, but like
you gotta throw that.
So
jab
it was like my friend had finally come back from his third ACL and still was playing.
Dude.
He was just the kid that never missed practice, even though he had a boot on. And one of his,
So
I think it was his first game back.
Not to be condescending, but like that kid in high school, dear God, that has that energy. Like I'm still supporting the team.
Shout out Luke
3 years.
Madrano. He's still a friend of mine.
Luke,
yeah.
You're probably not watching the radio. Actually, maybe
He's a youth pastor now, dude. Yeah, he's amazing.
He needs this content more than ever.
Yeah.
So dumb.
But he comes back. That was his first game back, like after his third ACL tear. And what's his? I don't want to shout him out. Jake. Okay. Jake was like a receiver, running back, or something. And Luke's first play. I mean, when he he had some pimped up energy and just laid Jake out like I've never seen before, and he never came back in the game.
No
like
way.
Hurt him.
Was it a
But
concussion?
it was like
or?
our whole team went level 10 because it was like the kid who had 3 ACL comes out and like it was like a screen pass, and Luke played safety, came down and just like just took this kid out. And I remember he like didn't come back in the game for this was like probably first or third quarter, somewhere in there. And it was like the best moment of Luke's life. So Luke will remember it.
Wow.
Because we still talk about it.
Sorry, Jake probably isn't watching this, but in his
He's definitely
defense, he ended up obliterating like every kid that ever went against him in this county. And I think
he was a
like,
freshman. There's no, he doesn't remember
dude,
this.
by his senior year, I think he ran like a 4.3, bro. He was freaking lightning. It was so fun to watch. My goodness.
That's amazing.
Yeah. It's fun to run that fast. I haven't tried it, but
yeah. Anyways, so that was we played football.
But
I was saying that because we're gonna play our students, and I'm gonna get.
So what are you gonna do? What's the plan?
Well, I kept saying
you gonna play quarterback
today in the office. Actually, really working hard for the Lord. We were kind of game planning on a whiteboard. And
do you guys have a playbook?
We were trying to figure out who's gonna be in what position. We got some injuries on the staff right now.
How many players on each side?
We're doing 7v7. So there'll be some subs and stuff like that.
How many?
But we got our.
Is it just youth staff?
No. Like it's like our
students,
church staff versus our college internship.
Will your dad play?
Probably not. He's gonna probably be like ref and morale coach, And we got some injuries on the staff right now, trying to bounce back from it. But I kept saying like, because I know the kid is gonna play quarterback for the interns, and I kept saying I'm like, put me on D-line and let me Max Crosby him and just talk in his ear. Even if I don't get to him, I'm just gonna run by him every time and say something in his ear and just get in his head. That's the type of.
Dude, I love it. Dude, I actually love Max Crosby. What an incredible story and such a good player.
So good.
I hope he can end his career on a winning team.
He already has the Raider shield tattooed on his chest, so I think he's there for a while. All those rumors a couple weeks ago.
They went crazy for a second.
Yeah, but he shut them down.
Okay, so we'll talk again, and you'll be on the radio another day. Yeah. Tell me your score prediction, and then we'll have to follow it up whenever. We'll do another episode next year. Your score prediction, intern student versus staff flag football game.
This is the content everybody wants.
It's the content I want.
Yeah, I think we're gonna come out fast. But
I think we're gonna come out fast.
But our lungs are a little older than these young guys.
Yeah.
Like look at Marcus over there, just fit young man. And so I think we're gonna have to just try and hold on in the fourth quarter where we start getting burnt a little bit and tired, and they're gonna still be fresh. So I think we're still going to pull it out, just because of discipline and the Lord's favors on our side and not on theirs. But I'm going to go. It's going to be probably 35-27. Staff takes it.
You heard it here first. At 1:25 p.m. The prediction has been made. Tell us one more time.
35-27. Staff take it.
35-27.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Marcus, you could tell the boys that. Yeah. Yeah.
I love it.
Put it on X. Whatever you got to do. Yeah.
When you think about how many kids you want to have, have you and Brooke talked about it at all?
Yeah. I want like 3. She wants like 15.
15.
That's a joke. But like she wants a big family. I don't know, man. I feel like the where we live and how much it is and all that kind of stuff. I think that fear cycle sometimes gets in my head of like, could we even pull off having more? But I think I really want a son, So I think if we have another 2 girls back to back, I'll definitely push for that 4th just to try it, But I think 3 to 4 would be ideal for us.
But anything Brooke would go more, you think?
Yeah, like ideally. But
would she go like 7 to 8 or no?
I don't want to speak for her. She's not on the pod. You have to bring her on the pod for that. But no, I think we'll have 4. We both come from families of 4.
Okay.
So I think
where are you at in the birth
oldest
order? You're the oldest?
Yeah.
So 27 and then what?
I'm 10 years older than my youngest sister.
Okay.
So she's in our youth ministry still.
Dude,
she's
that's
amazing.
Awesome,
Leads
bro.
worship. She's awesome. Yeah.
What's her name?
Ella.
Ella?
She's probably singing the night you were there.
Oh, awesome.
Yeah, she's awesome.
Yeah, you guys had such an awesome team, which I actually want to talk about it because being a youth pastor in San Diego, it's like, this is the dream life.
Can I tell everybody my first interaction with you?
Sure.
How I came up. So I being a youth pastor, I'm going to speak to the camera, being a youth pastor in San Diego, I was telling Marcus on the way down, to this day, I say the best person to do it is Wendell Jake McKinney.
Oh, bro, you're
Everyone,
kind.
and when I started in San Diego, all these guys were always like, they would come through and they'd be like, this reminds me of Wendell. You remind me of Wendell. You know, like how we did things. And I don't know. You lived in Arizona, so I was like, I don't think I'll ever meet him.
Yeah.
And then I think it was at a conference or something. You were like staring off into the sky by yourself, and I'm like, this is my shot. I'm just gonna go up. I'm just gonna go up, and I'm just gonna make this guy's day. You know. And I walk up, and I was like, hey, you don't know me. I just want to thank you for paving the way in San Diego. And I still stand by that. I think what you guys did is the staple for our city, and I'm always a big fan. Like I'm like you, like as much as I'm a Raider fan, I just love the city. I love the people of it. I grew up here. It's given me everything, and that's why we youth pastor here. And I'm always for the guys who like, you didn't just do it for like 2 years. Like, what was it, 8 years?
Well,
10 years somewhere.
No,
there?
I think I became the junior high director in the fall of 2010.
Okay.
So I was.
And you
doing
left in
that,
2017,
and then I left in 2017. And so,
it's like 7 years.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like you invested into it.
It was a fun
and it's
time,
still
man.
legendary.
Oh, I don't know about that, but it was. It's so fun when you think about like, okay, God has given me these abilities, right? Like I think for guys like us, God has clearly given us the ability to communicate, and then we also really care about human beings, mm-hmm. and then we have truly been captured by the story of Jesus. And when that happens, whether you're a youth pastor or whether you're an entrepreneur or an artist,
doesn't leave you.
It just sticks with you. Like I was talking with my buddy the other day, and I'm getting chills just thinking about it. I was like, bro, this is kind of what I'm trying to think through with like ministry, whatever. He's like, bro, to be honest with you, I feel like you're still the same pastor I've always known. Mm-hmm. And I almost cried. I was like, bro, thank you for saying that. Because I think once I decided to go into youth ministry, because I felt like God told me to, I was 17 years old and I wanted to go play college football or maybe college soccer, and had a couple opportunities to go try to pursue it potentially. But I remember I did like this 7-day fast. Do you remember that lemonade fast?
Yeah.
7 days. And I was also playing high school basketball, so I was like dying, right? And on the 6th day, I remember sitting in my bedroom. I can still see it. The closest thing I heard to the audible voice of God to this day, I felt like impressed on my chest. I could feel the Holy Spirit of Jesus say, "Don't you know that I've called you and ordained you?" And from that moment, I was like, okay, I got to go do Bible college. I got to go into ministry. And I think when Jesus captures your heart, and you really love people, and you find a skill that he's given you, and you mentioned it a couple of times since you've been here, you just kind of leave it in his hands, beautiful things happen. And for so many people, youth ministry does not matter. Like there's so many people that couldn't, and maybe rightfully so, don't care. But for guys like us, they're like, dude, I feel like God has asked me to invest his story into a group of young people in a specific city. It's really special for me because I could talk about my youth pastor, Marco Contreras, or the guy before him, Casey Bombasi, or this guy before him, Ben Brinkman, or think about other youth ministries that happen here in San Diego. And I think if I could throw it back on you, bro, like whatever I would have done by the grace of Jesus and by being surrounded by really gifted leaders and really cool young high schoolers and junior hires that wanted to affect their campuses, I'm so proud as a friend to see what you've done. Like, whether you want to, throw shade on the local church or not, when 1,000 young people come into a room because of Jesus, even if they're getting free Chick-fil-A, bro, that is a rare thing.
It's wild. Yeah.
Like, that's not normal.
Yeah.
Like, find another belief system that can get 1,000 young people to rage for the belief system, and then not just do it at that night, but then go back to their campus, bro. Like, I'm getting chills thinking about like what you do on the high school campuses, because I remember doing something similar. You get all these kids packed out for pizza. Maybe you get like a Charger player, athlete, or anybody, whatever, and you give a quick call, and there's like thousands of kids wanting to come and hear about Jesus, bro. It is so special, and I commend you for doing it because there's that through line of ministry where it's kind of pseudo cool. Like we've created our own cool culture, and I'm not even ashamed of it. And I don't think it's inherently wrong, but I think it gets a little hairy at times where like, who's the coolest speaker? It's a small circle because it only matters to our little circle of ministry people. But then there's guys like you who, bro, your talent, your charisma, your love for your wife, your love for your daughter, but more importantly, the fact that Jesus has captured your heart and you are willing to do something. You could get so much more money doing other things, but you're like, no, God's asked me to do this, and to see the fruit as a result. Man, I commend you.
Thank you,
bro. I really do, as a friend. I'm thankful, like, because this is my town still. I know I don't live here, but this is the town that raised me. And I think it's really special what you're doing. And You already know it's like in our little ministry world, people are already recognizing it. But just as another guy who, it's one thing to see like, oh, like who has a cool thing happening in this city, or, you know, is there a big church recognizing it? But for two guys that decided, okay, we're going to spend years of our lives when we could go be chasing some career. We're going to spend years of our lives decidedly studying the scripture, praying, taking long walks on the beach, having difficult conversations with young men, trying to help them follow Jesus. I'm so proud that this city has you, bro, for real.
This is so kind, bro. That's what I felt the Lord told me when we were doing it. I felt God kind of impressed in my heart, like, give 10 years to my kids and I'll have your back. That was kind of like what got me started in this. And I think the perspective has always been something you don't get, Wendell Jake, without a youth pastor when you were, I don't know, I didn't know you as a kid, but I'm guessing like me, just messy and, you know, like, and God through line. And what I love about it now, bro, is I feel like even what God's done in the culture of with young leaders, I'm 27 today, and then I started doing this when I was 20. So like 7 years, even in that switch, like, you know, we were talking about your kind of group of friends that ran and did youth versus mine now. And one of the things I'm seeing now is like, I'm meeting these guys who are like 20, 21. And for you to be like 20, 21 and say, I want to be in youth ministry in 2024 is a lot different than like 2013.
Bro, the commitment's more.
Right. Like when
the commitment keeps, like what you committed to is more than me.
Because at that time you guys had guys like, you know, Chad and Judah and, you know, like these incredible bigger than life giants in youth ministry.
Rich Wilkerson and Chris Durso, Mark Francie, all these great dudes.
Right. Which like.
So many more.
Yeah, you can go on. And for whatever reason, there's kind of a breakdown and a gap in there being like between them and now I would say like the Gen Z. So it's like I'm the last year of Gen Z. And
you are? What's your birth year?
97. Yeah. So like the last year in there.
And then it's Alpha?
And then it goes to Millennial.
Oh, you're saying above you, my bad.
Above me. Yeah, it goes to Gen Alpha. But the guys I'm meeting now, like, it's funny, like, even I have the memory. So, like, if, you know, you would be like, what inspired preach? Jude, I remember watching this sermon. Or Rich, I remember, you know, a lot of these guys, like, they're either just, like, senior pastor guys now in the world who are inspirational for sure. But, like, from a youth ministry perspective, they don't have memories. Even I don't have memories of knowing these guys running youth ministry where like even like 5-10 years older than me, those were like, they made youth ministry this attractional thing that everyone wanted to get into. And then now it's like, if you're getting in it, bro, like now I that's why I give everything to youth pastors. But if you're getting in it now, that means God's like actually called you. You're not doing it for the paycheck, and you're not doing it because you're going to get fame. Now, I'm sure there are some who are like think it's going to be, you know, their ticket to fame. And I'm going to talk to the camera for a second. If that's you and you're doing this and trying to get famous, go find another job because that's the cringiest, corniest thing of all time. Kids need better than some TikTok guy who's trying to be famous. But like that's my heart behind it. Like if you really are trying to love kids and pour your heart into kids, like you're doing it because you have a heart for people. And because of that, I think it's in a really cool, pure space. Like I think God's even protected influence-wise a lot of guys my age. Not that there hasn't been, but if you think about it, there's name right now someone 30 and below that's like on the scale of where Judah was or Chad was when they were in their mid to 30s. You know, the only one that comes to mind is my friend Charles Metcalf, who's out of this world, and he's the healthiest leader I've ever met. But outside of him, it's a pretty small group. It doesn't mean there's not people doing great things. You just don't necessarily know them. And I think that's a good thing, bro. Like, I like that.
Yeah, there's a lot of beauty in anonymity.
Yeah, like, I like that you could, like, we could be hidden a little bit. And it's like, you know, even my life, like, God's allowed me to speak on some platforms that, like, should bring, like, you know, maybe more influence. And I just feel like God's, and I love it, man. Like, I'm like, very much so. Like the biggest part of my life is our local church thing. It's not until I maybe go somewhere that I realize someone had been following it or some, you know, I've been inspired by it, whatever. But I love that that's not necessarily the pursuit anymore. I think there are guys, and if you want to do the whole like reach a ton of people online, like maybe like then do that, you know. And I love that this is an option and something that's available where like guys can get influence and reach people for Jesus on an online space. I just still think we need guys who are madly in love with local campuses and madly in love with the kids right in front of them and not getting like caught up in the other thing. And that's kind of just been my MO. Maybe it's old fashioned. I don't know. I just feel that's my conviction is like, who am I to try and put more time into my Instagram and trying to like reach kids that I'll never meet or people that I'll never meet then like, if you do what we do, like go to a school every week and see 2,700 kids in a public high school and go, I'm just going to not pay attention here. That's just always been my thought process with it. I think God just has blessed like the heart all into the local thing. And if anything else comes with it, that's God. You know what I mean? Like pure heart, that's never been the focus. You know what I mean? And I think that's what I love seeing right now is like, I was in Arizona at the beginning of this year. There's 120 youth pastors. They got like most of the youth pastors in the Phoenix, Scottsdale area together, and I was speaking at it. I'm just meeting these dudes. You never know them. But like, dude, there's a guy, young adult ministry, 1,200 young adults a week, bro, at a church that's like smaller than that. Met another guy, 600 students coming through, saying never heard of him. But just like God's blowing right now on youth ministries all over the nation. And it's all, I think it's very pure. Like, all these guys are incredible who are coming up. There's and I just get excited because I'm like, the future of the church is actually in really good hands. There just isn't like 4 guys that are like, you know, like the pinnacle,
like the
out
apex
front.
Predator of like who you have at a conference.
Sure, right. Yeah. And that's cool. You know what I mean? Like, and everyone's got different philosophy. Even ours, like, we don't bring a ton of guests in only because my philosophy is like, I'm the one who's like with these kids all the time, you know? So like if we do a big event, like I'm probably myself or someone on our team are going to be the one to, you know, it's got to be relational or a friend. And everyone's got different things with it. That's just kind of been my MO with it. But yeah, it's just a beautiful season for youth ministry, bro. I'm blown away, dude. Like it's not dead. It's not like, I genuinely think it's only going to continue to rise. And that's what the Bible tells us, right? Like in the last days, he will pour out his spirit. Like that's what I'm sensing right now is just this, like, especially in the charismatic Pentecostal space with youth, like kids are just getting rocked, dude. Like, and
well, people need Jesus more than ever, bro. This world is so broken and fractured.
Yep.
And I was going to ask you, because you and I have talked about this before, and I've even, when I got to come and see what was happening at Daybreak Youth, it was so special. But I know that you're really poignant on it with how difficult it is just to be a human these days. Like I can imagine how tough it would be to be a high schooler. Like to be a high schooler in 2024 is infinitely more tough. Like anxiety ridden. And it's like the numbers just show us enough. Like how many more children, because they're still kids, right? Under 18, these students that are deal with depression, that deal with anxiety, that deal with sexual confusion, that are abusing drugs, abusing alcohol. How are you bringing the gospel to kids? Because that's the reason divine persuasion exists too. It's like we just want to bring the gospel to the world, 100%. Like the story, the life, love, and teachings of Jesus. How are you being able to communicate that to kids who are so hurting? Because I think there's one line was like, the world is so desperate for Jesus, but on the other side, they're looking at so many other things that can fill the void. Yeah,
that's I mean, it's the reason why I don't think we'll ever go out of business too. Like, it's not, but like, I just think even now call it the enemy, call it Satan, call it culture, whatever you want to call it. Paul would call it the world. It's clear, it's concise, it's impressive, and it's in your face what the world wants for your life or whatever it's defining as, like it's the world's theology. I've just been on the other end, as clear, as precise, as upfront, and as much as we can be. Like when I mean impressive, I don't mean like super cool. I just mean excellent. You know, like I'm not going to, and that's where I'm like, the youth deserve me to prep 30 hours a week to write a sermon. They deserve me to put everything into like, they need this just as much as an adult does. We don't have the church of 15 years from now if we don't have them getting invested into now. So we've just been, we don't shy away from or try and be cool. Like this is a real story. This was this last Sunday, and I hope this is not online, but it probably is online. We do a thing like where we'll just do like an AMA like on stage. Like I'll get up there and like we'll throw it on Instagram, like ask whatever. And of course, like for the things we're like, give me your thoughts on abortion. Give me your thoughts on this. Give me your thoughts on that. Like heavy things that should be probably conversated in like a, you know, like one-on-one.
Yeah.
But like you have so many kids confused and they want to know. So instead of just being like, we'll talk about this another time.
Book a coffee.
Yeah. I'm like, here we go. Let's rip it. Here's what on my heart. Here's what, and you know, and shared, you know. And I'm sure some people were upset. A lot of people came up and were like, thank you for talking about this. I'm glad it was clear. But like, dude, this is like after a night, I had a girl come up. I'm praying for her. And she asked me to pray for her. She's don't know what she was going through. And I say something in my prayer like, and Lord, I pray you would give her, and I say her, and she looks up and she says, my pronouns are they, them, and puts her head back down. And I go, Lord, I just pray you'd bless this mighty creation that I'm like trying to like figure out how to, and she looks up and she goes, do you think God's mad that I'm non-binary? She's dead serious. Wow. Right? Like we like make, I don't want to say memes, but I think like that part of the culture has just been like exacerbated to like, we've always demonized until you're face to face with a real 16-year-old girl who's standing in our church building after a night.
Yeah, and she wants prayer.
And she's not trying to be provocative to me. She's not trying. This is her authentic self and her view, right? So like, and she wants prayer. What am I gonna do? Like,
you should deny her prayer.
Yeah. So she needs God. We had a conversation, and I think because I authentically follow Jesus and she's authentically following whatever she thinks she's following, she respects that I'm at least all in with this thing. And I'm not like trying to play to like try and get her to be on our thing. I'm just defining this is what we believe. And here's the thing, you don't have to change everything about your life. I go, just keep coming back. Give it I always say this to young people. I go, God's so real that I don't have to prove him to you. He'll prove himself to you if you have an open heart towards him. Like I'll preach my sermons, I'll talk, but like God's that powerful that I don't have to like do a magic trick with the sermon or try and like give prophetic words for me to prove that God's real. I mean, we do that stuff.
Bang, bang,
yeah,
bang.
Yeah. But I go, God's so real. He will show up in your life if you ask him to. So you just keep asking God to show up, seek him. And it's just, that's my thought with it is I'm like, we're just going to be so upfront and I want to display the power and the glory of God in young people's lives. And that's why I think we've seen some of the success because kids like aren't just like coming for a good, I'm sure there are kids who come for the pizza and the fun stuff, 100%.
Right.
But we have a legit chunk of like disciples of Christ who are like unashamed, that I feel confident that we'll go to college and continue to love Jesus and we'll have great marriages one day and we'll raise kids one day because that's how we have taught, that's how we have preached, unapologetic. It's not entertainment. It's not trying to, I think sometimes I may be too mature with how I speak, but I also just think it's a good thing. I'd rather call them up than dumb it down. I know you were the same way, but bro, it's cool. Like God's moving in this generation and he's done it in so many different ways. Like there's TikTok guys I can mention that have just change kids' lives. There's local youth pastors that have changed kids' lives. There's people who are just influencers and, that have changed kids' life. There's like, it's cool how God's just using a collective of people right now because God cares about this generation far more than I do, far more than our pastors do. And I think you just get in line with that heart and say, God, like, help me have the same heart you have for these kids. He's just looking for someone to trust. He's just looking for someone to trust with this kid. It's the same way. It's like, these are our kids. Banks is my daughter. I'm not going to hand her off to some random dude or like random who's babysitting her. I'm really careful with it. Right. I think God's the same way with his kids. And when he's looking at people to steward a move of God, I'm just going, God, I want you to trust me. You know what I mean? That I'm going to be kind to your kids. I'm going to be a good representation of you to these kids when I preach, when I meet one-on-one, when we do campus stuff, and by means we never get that perfect, but that's the prayer that I'm always praying. Like we're willing and available to be used by you, God. When you look down across San Diego, I want you to see Ben and Marcus and Anthony and our team and go, I can move through them.
Yeah.
And I think that's been the prayer, and my God, has he done it? It's just been the coolest thing.
Man, I feel like I could sit with that for a second. You mentioned that you felt like God asked you to do it for 10 years. And I think it's really interesting because when I stepped out of like direct vocational ministry, it was a beautiful and somewhat confusing time because I feel like when you're in ministry, it's like, it's kind of easy is probably not the right term, but for lack of a better term, easy to think like I'm doing exactly what God wants. But when you look at what you've done now, you said, are you 7 years in? Yeah. Do you think in 3 years that someone else will be the youth pastor and you'll go on to be like in a different role? Or what do you think you want to do in the next few years?
It could be longer too. I think, I'll shout them out like Jake Fuquay, Jude Fuquay Sr., Jude Fuquay Jr., that family and youth ministry has meant a lot to me. Just as like a model of it not being just a stepping stone to plant a church. Like they were all in, like youth is everything. When you're in it, just give it your all. And all of them, for whatever reason, has kind of had that 10-year mark or so in giving their life to it. So I think that influenced me a lot in it. I probably had, like I said, 4 or 5 youth pastors in a 6-year window growing up.
When you were in like junior high and high school? Yeah,
junior high and high school. So like in a 7-year, legit probably 4 or 5 in a 7-year period, just coming through. So because of that, I've just had this like, I want to be faithful to it and stay. And when I turned 20, I felt this was the Lord told me. So in my mind, it's always been like my 20s are going to be given to this next generation. And if it goes longer, it goes longer. If not, it doesn't. I think the way I've kind of operated is whatever God puts in front of me. I can sense, the sense. It's like you find where there's grace on your life. And it was like, first sermon I preached, it was God awful, but I felt like grace on it. Like there's just something different, Like I remember like the first time we started a youth night, like we were talking to team, and it was not perfect, but I just felt a grace on it. Like it was just like God's here, like He's doing something, Like we step out and do a camp. It's like we're doing God's there. I feel grace on it. That's kind of always how it's been. So whatever the next season looks like, I'm just looking for that like approval stamp from God. If it's planting, if it's doing something at home, whatever it looks like. I'm pretty open-handed with it, but.
But you probably see yourself in ministry if you had to project like for most of your life, if not your whole life, like as a pastor, if you had to guess, or would you feel like, hey, maybe there's a season where I want to go into business, or feel like you're the kind of guy who'd also tell me randomly like, yeah, I want to own like a sports agency or like a coffee shop to represent the Raiders. It doesn't work like that.
I don't know. I mean, I feel like it would be a hard left turn for God to call us out of it. But like my wife is not like vocationally in ministry. She's in her, does real estate and has her own side businesses and stuff like that. And I also just I have this like morbid view sometimes of the future, not of the church, but the future of like, I always tell someone like how like comfortable it is in the West right now to do church. I feel like even like in my time of doing ministry, it's gotten less and less comfortable. And I just have this thing, I'm young enough where I can go 50 years from now, I'm probably still building church in some capacity. Who knows what it's going to look like as far as like our tax exemption, as far as how the building's funded, like all that kind of stuff. Where I'm like, it's probably good to have a little side going, you know what I mean, just to keep us afloat. But I don't know, man. I'm just like God's got us. I am an optimist, like in that way. And my wife's the opposite. She's like very safe and.
My wife and I are the same.
Wants to be projected. Yeah. I'm the guy who's like, God's gonna figure it out.
It's all gonna work. Yeah. Don't worry, babe. We're gonna change the world.
Yeah. And I have like usually God comes through on those things, and I'm usually, you know what I mean. And if
he does that Romans 8:28, where like 5 years later, this one works out.
Yes. So I'm that way with money. I'm that way with but it's good. I think her and I balance each other out in that way. Yeah. Where it's been actually really good for me to be a little more like disciplined and realistic, and I've also probably pulled her a little more faith-filled and, and that's probably how it should be.
Yeah. They'd say opposites attract, like that's so true, but the opposites from the perspective, and it's the same thing in like business or in ministry, like usually you should have one person that's more visionary, outward thinking, you have one person that's more grounded in reality. Yeah. And it, one pulls one up and one grounds the other. It's perfect.
Yeah. I came from a context where like everyone's wife worked at the church. At our church, we're in San Diego, it's just not super practical for churches to be able to afford, for us to live here and pay both.
Yeah.
I don't know. It doesn't matter. I'm not going to say numbers, but like I think most of our staff, as in like 80% or more, though spouse works in the marketplace or does something.
And didn't it come out recently that San Diego is now the most expensive city in our country?
Officially it is.
And I'm not surprised.
I think Forbes put that out, but
It's crazy.
So that's just like been our journey so far. It might look different in 10 years from now.
How did you and Brooke meet?
We switched places in college. I went to Seattle area. She's from there. She came to Orange County for college. Our first summer, I decided to stay and not come back here, but she came home. And she attended the youth and young adult ministry at that church her whole life and came back for summer from college. And I was serving there and she was attending. And
do you remember the first meeting?
Yeah, I do. Well, it was there was so much hype behind it because I had
so people were already talking.
Yeah, like all my friends were, like trying to set it up. Who knew her? She just wasn't living there, but they're all like when I got up.
What was being said? So your friends were like, "Yo, you got to meet this girl, Brooke."
Yes,
or what?
Exactly. Yeah, pretty much. Like we could you'll love her. Yeah, like.
Was Instagram around?
It was. Right? So I had DM'd her and she didn't respond.
For real?
Like before she got home. You know, we had so many mutual friends that I like DM'd her.
What did you DM her?
You
slid in and
it was like something about her. She posted a photo and I said those shoes are cool or something like that, and then it just she swears she just never saw it, but I know she did. And then that first night we were it was
at church,
and I was doing the whole I'm not going to talk to her but I'm going to make myself known, type thing.
Wait.
Because I was pissed that she never responded to my DM.
Wait, tell me before we go on, because I can't wait for this story. These are I love a story of how a marriage comes together, especially for people who are happily married like us. So first of all, we love our wives.
Let's go, baby.
Only one woman for each of us, okay? I got one, you got one. That's enough.
That made Marcus laugh back there. Yeah, he's great.
Let's go, Marcus. But you're telling me you already had this. You knew she was going to be there. And you're like,
I don't know if I knew she was going to be there. I kue she was home, though. Like, so we were in the same city now.
And will you say the line again? What did you say your plan was?
Yeah, so I DM'd her. She didn't respond. So my pride was like, all right. She shows up, and I'm not going to lie. I was like probably liking my fit that night. I was feeling good, whatever. I was 19.
Yeah.
And
just I saw her at the corner of my 19-year-old, I'm invincible.
I saw her at the corner. Yeah, I saw her at the corner of my eye, and I go, I'm not going to give her any attention, but she's going to know I'm here.
In what way? Like, you're just all your charisma, all your charm was somebody else?
I sat the seat right in front of her. So, like, I watched where she sat down, and I went and sat right in front of her. And I think I was, like, I had my shoes kicked up on the seat in front of me, like, chilling. I was probably shouting down the preacher too loud. I was messing with just making sure she knew my presence.
Just, like, all the cool Christian stuff.
Anything I could do. I had, like, 15 chairs in each arm. And then I get invited to her house for, like, her parents have this amazing house on the lake.
Wait, pause. Yeah. So, you're there with your 15 chairs and your feet up, being the loudest shout down guy, which at the time would have been cool. Now you'd be a weirdo.
She swears she saw me playing Fortnite on my phone in front. This is her part of the story, which I'm like, that didn't happen. But when she tells the story to her friend, she said he was not paying attention. He was on his phone. I think he was playing like some Fortnite game on his phone during it. And I probably was like sitting there like at that time. This was 2017.
But then the invite is not the same night, or it is? It's another time you get an invite?
That night afterwards, I get put in a group chat with her. And
from another friend who's trying to connect you.
Yeah. Okay. Who's trying to connect us. There's like 5 of us in this group chat. And her parents have an amazing house in the lake. And it was summertime. And so like that's what you did in the summer, go to the lake. And so yeah, I got invited over and then just hit the Rizzler on real quick and called it wraps, dude. Yeah.
Hit the Rizzler?
Yeah.
It's what people say now. I love it. So do you remember the first thing you said?
I don't. I remember talking to like her mom in the kitchen more than her that first time.
Bro, it's smart.
Yeah.
Smart.
And I think she liked that.
You make the mom love you, and you also confirm the mom is beautiful.
Oh, absolutely.
Because that's your future.
But it was for real though. Like it happened so fast. It was like we had this 3-month summer where it was like every day.
I want to understand though. So give me and our 97 subscribers, okay? Give me like the situation where there's some sort of communication and connection. Like when did that hit? Was it that night
at our house
party?
That night? Yeah, we were all there to party.
You hit the Rizzler.
Yeah, real quick. But it was like in a group, right? So like we're just hanging, swimming, having a good time. And then I don't even remember what we first talked about. My most iconic moment that I remember that this is the one. So 4th of July growing up in San Diego was not like that big of a deal.
Yeah.
There it was like the biggest deal in the world.
Because you can do fireworks up there. And
this is a true story. It was July 5th. I'll never forget it. It was the first time we kissed because
this magic
so
moment.
July 5th. So in Washington, people do fireworks like for 3 days after 4th of July. And I bring her a smoothie or something to her house the day after 4th of July. And we're in
girl, take this mango go and kiss me.
Yeah. Shout out Emerald City Smoothie. Yep. And we're kicking it in her backyard. They had these like, big like beach chair things like out by the lake. And we're just sitting there and I'm like, this is my moment. Like I'm going to kiss her for the first time. At this point, we'd been like already going on dates for like 2.5 months. Okay. And I literally, like,
dude, you guys are so Christian.
We lean over for our first kiss and legit fireworks go off from like the next door neighbor. Like you couldn't we both start laughing, and I was like, this is the greatest moment of my life. Yeah.
That's Disney.
Yeah. It was pretty funny.
Let's go.
Yeah.
And then how quick after that did you propose?
So we were only sophomores in college and we LD'd it for a long time, long distance.
Awesome.
I mean, like we never went more than a month without seeing each other because my family was here, her family was up there. So we'd choose back and forth each month. And then the second 2020 hit, probably 4 months after we graduated, got engaged. 3 months after we got engaged, we got married. So it was pretty quick,
bro.
Yeah,
it's the best.
Yeah, and she's awesome.
So is she younger than you, or the same age?
Like 3 months younger. Yeah, we're the same age.
Yeah, so fun, bro.
Yeah.
It's I love talking about stories of how the man like asked the woman out or whatever, but
especially these days, dude, like, because our parents, their stories were all so like adventurous, and like the technology like wasn't really in it as much. Now these kids are like,
there was so much more you had to sort out.
Like, oh yeah, we swiped up on each other, and you're like, oh, that's not romantic at all,
And the other thing too is like you meet people and like you can't really make fun of like an eHarmony couple because I don't know what the stats are, but more people are meeting online than in person now for the first time.
I know a lot. Yeah.
And it's not like just dating apps. It's not just Tinder or whatever. It's like, no, we met on Instagram, we DM'd.
I have an investment opportunity for you.
You do?
Yeah.
Okay, what is it?
Specifically.
Is it for everyone on the radio or just me?
Anyone
Is it for all 97 subscribers?
All 97. Everyone want to bump into this. I've noticed a market. I've traveled a bit this year. Met a lot of single youth pastors. And I was like, because it's tough out here, right? Especially if you're like a few years into like pastoring, but you're single, it's really tough to try and I want my friend Charlie Hughes to be the one to help make this happen because he's one of my good friends and he's just good looking but single and he's building an incredible ministry. I was like, we need to start some type of like Tinder that is for people who are already pastoring. So like there's some barrier to entry, like for the girls.
It's like, you remember when Bumble, it was only for women?
Yes.
Only women can approach the men?
And I think we would like make a lot of relationships and a lot of money and it'd be awesome. It's like $100 a month subscription, but we promise you're going to find a spouse.
Can we call it Pastor Rizzler?
So stupid. Yeah, your son's like, Dad, that's cringe. Yeah.
Oh, probably.
Does he do that yet?
No.
Oh, okay.
He'll say like, hey, Dad, Mom, that's embarrassing, but it's not necessarily because we're doing something cheesy. It's just because like he doesn't want like focus on something. Like I love messing with him. I'll be like, Ev, I'm going to roll down the window and yell whatever. He's like, Dad, please don't. That's embarrassing.
That's so funny.
But what would you call it for real? If you had to name it right now on the radio.
Something like, has like Amalfi Jets hit your phone yet?
No.
You haven't heard of this?
No.
It's like blown up on TikTok and Reels. It's like this private jet company. And the whole concept of the content. You know what I'm talking about? Amalfi Jets on Instagram. Oh my gosh, dude. Really? I feel like everybody talks about this right now.
Well, you're one of the four, so you got to let us all know.
The content has blown up because it's just a guy taking calls from like super rich clients who are booking private jets. He films it. I mean, the dude got a ton of subs. It's awesome. He talks about how he named his company, why he called it Amalfi. And he talked about like how he wanted something that was sleek, clean, represented strength, but also class. So I think when I talk about this youth pastor dating app thing, I think it needs to be like kind of incognito because no one wants to like upright sign up for the like, you're a pathetic single guy. Like it's got to have some type of like upscale feel to it, So maybe like, I don't know, like what would be the Cadillac of dating apps? You know what I mean? Like the Maserati of.
I got nothing. I'm so removed, bro. I haven't had like a new date in 12 and a half years. I have no idea.
That's a good point. So I don't have a name for it yet, but if anyone does.
TBD. Put it in the comments. If you're one of our 97 subscribers.
Marcus, what would you call it? Okay. No help.
No idea. No help.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
We'll get back to it.
Okay.
I think it's a fun idea. I think the only issue I have is you're going to have to figure out other small, like underserved markets, like youth pastors that are single, because there's probably not that many. Or it has to be a significant charge.
It gets kind of sketch if you just do like single pastors in general. Because then you're talking like, we're helping someone with their like second, third marriage, But like,
you aren't single, but you prefer to be.
You probably need to stay that way too.
Preemptively single.
Yeah. I think young pastors, something like it have to have that,
Yeah.
Like maybe there's like 35 and younger or something,
So funny.
Where it's not like, odd. But
who's your buddy that you want to be the rep?
Charlie Hughes. So I think he would be so he's like America's most eligible Christian bachelor right now.
Okay.
Yeah. He's amazing. He was on Rich's podcast not long ago, running an incredible young adult ministry. And he's 24, single, an incredible preacher, man of God, and we're just trying to find the right girl for him. That's like I spend some time like.
What is it about? And I'm sure it happens in other religious, systems or other communities, but something about like the evangelical Christian movement that has this deep obsession with finding people and linking them together. It's like, oh, these people have to be connected.
I don't limit. I mean, The Bachelor's made a lot of money doing the same thing, right? So I think.
But I think The Bachelor's really a farce because how many of those actually end up together? That's more. But I guess it does count.
Yeah, I personally think it's fun, and I personally just enjoy the fulfillment.
Oh, it's so fun.
Yeah. I mean, Marcus over here, he came to California, San Diego, single man. Now he's got an incredible girl on our team. It's awesome. Yeah.
And the ring is in your pocket?
Yeah. Yeah.
He said no.
You're right though. There are people. It's definitely like I feel like that's every like youth pastor's role too, right?
Oh,
like
totally.
side roles. Also like.
Well, I mean, the goal.
Did you ever do a wedding of someone that was in your youth ministry?
Kind of.
Okay.
I did a wedding for a guy who was a youth pastor at another church for a while that like was like a brother to me. But by the time everyone that I would have been a youth pastor for started to get married, I had already kind of transitioned out of youth ministry.
Gotcha.
Yeah. But I'm sure, then have you done so?
The first one will be, I got scheduled for the first one.
Dude, so
this
fun.
next summer.
And were they both or just one?
One was a student, the other one was a leader. So by the time I met her, but now they're both leaders and awesome.
That's so fun.
Yeah,
bro.
so it'll be good. I'll probably cry, but it'll be good.
Well, today's your birthday.
It is.
You're going to go celebrate. How many friends are coming over?
12.
Dude, so fun. What a group. You're like Jesus, man. You got your 12 disciples.
Yeah, just how long have we been going for? Has it been a minute?
I'm not sure. Matt, how long have we been going? Hour 25. That's a good amount of time, man. Is there anything else you want to say to all of our subscribers?
Dude, love you. Love what you're doing. And, I think more churches need to hire Divine Persuasion. I think we need to hire. Are we on Divine Persuasion?
No, we're not. But
okay,
we should work on it.
Bro,
we actually, it's not on our website because we're redoing ours, but we are now offering full service social media management and web development, which is really exciting.
Beautiful.
It'll be announced early next year, but we're already taking on clients. Dude, we would love to work with Daybreak or
I think it'd be cool.
Find something to work. It'd be awesome.
Yeah, you know what I think you should do? This is my last thing.
Please tell me.
Shout out Fillmore, my dog.
Fillmore is my guy, bro.
Has he been on the pod yet?
Yeah. So actually, I told you when we started online, and I did 3 or 4 online, but I needed him to come down now that we're doing it in person.
You should have Fillmore do a segment maybe on your pod where he reviews churches just the squares, the feed, but the whole thing. Because I sent him ours. I'm like, give me a review. He wrote me like a paragraph back. He said 8.5 out of 10. I was like, a little hurt, but it's okay. And he's like, this is why. And
that's probably how people feel when you review their messages, right?
Yeah, probably.
But you don't do a rating system, or do you?
No, I don't do a rating. No, I don't. But I just give feedback. It's that'd be tough because I'm like grading based on what?
Based
people
on
got saved, Billy Graham's sermon to you. I don't know. What's that's Dan Fernand's job. I'll let him run in that
he's
world.
going for it, man.
Yeah.
He's the man.
So anyways, I mean, I think you should have him review churches' things.
That would be fun. Did you ever, the other day I was at a coffee shop and someone said, who's that YouTuber? He got in a little trouble. I hope everybody's okay with whatever happened. But he would review other people doing cringe things online.
Cody Go.
Yeah. It's like kind of like a Cody Co-esque thing, but like reviewing people's Instagrams.
Yes.
The only problem is the vast majority of churches do such a poor job. And even the ones who do a good job, it's just hard to do it consistently, which is why we exist.
You exist.
Was like
this is my last
average
idea.
Creative director.
I have $1 million idea for you. Sorry, last thing.
No. We don't have to be done. You're the one that has to go to a birthday party with your 12 best friends.
Last thing, because I want to do this. And I have a guy that can help you with this. I've been getting the golf recently, and I was on a flight this last weekend, and I watched, too many hours of like golf YouTube. And I had this idea, I'm like, so many pastors golf. And no one yet has taken advantage of like the Bryson DeChambeau, like where you film and vlog the whole thing. And there's like a challenge along with it. But I was like, you should, because I've heard Judah's an incredible golfer. You should start this thing. And maybe you outsource, have Judah do it as other people do it, where you like get every pastor into golf and you do the whole vlog the entire time. I think it would help grow the channel like crazy. Because I don't know if you see how many freaking views these videos get now. Like it's massive.
Yeah.
Like the Trump one is at like 22 million views.
I mean, obviously he's the most famous
but
person
even
on the planet.
The other ones are like
Judah is planning to be on the podcast. We just haven't organized it. And our bonus content is going to be us golfing.
Yes. But I think you could do it with like a ton of pastors.
You mean like everyone I do the pod with, just have them play golf with me instead?
Have it be another aspect of the channel. Maybe someone on your team plays golf.
Matt has been trying to get me to do this. He exactly what you said, word for word. Matt, I don't know if you have a mic on you, but he's been asking me. He's like, bro, just get them all to golf with you.
Yes.
So
do some chocolate.
So I'd actually love to ask you this because you said last thing. And if you're still here, thanks for watching. But one of the things that actually the number one reason I didn't start the podcast, and I think you probably relate to this, a lot of the times I allow like the pursuit of perfection to stop any sort of progress in my life. I've really gone through a lot of that, and it no longer stopping me. But in this, I have thought multiple times, I like the sit down conversation because my very favorite thing to do in the world besides being with my family is to have coffee with a friend or a meal with a friend, just like this.
Oh yeah, we sat for 2 hours the first night we hung out.
Exactly. Yeah. It's my favorite thing. Just get to know you, have a conversation, whatever. And I think doing this in this type of medium obviously is so popularized. Yeah. And there are so many great podcasters doing this. But I also have such an affinity for what we did before, walking to coffee or Dan, I don't know if you saw the episode I did with him where we grill after.
Yeah,
and
so cool.
I sometimes feel like those two things, and Matt and I talk about all the time, are kind of at war with each other. You're more in tune to even what's popular in culture than I am now, as far as like what young people are considering to be, fun or influential or worth their time. And I have a lot of guys that will give me recommendations, but sometimes I feel like, okay, for instance, if I go down this golf route or I go down, if we were going to play pickleball, we would have had that be our bonus content. Then sometimes I feel like doing more of a sit-down conversation is more beneficial. My landing spot has usually been I want to kind of try to produce both. But the other one is probably way more fun and more impactful and more people would watch it. So what would your recommendation be?
I think you got to look at what do you want the outcome to be, So I think if it's entertainment maybe, then I do think like I don't get moved by Bryson's videos. I'm more just like constantly engaged in it, especially when he has fun people on, right? Tony Romo is playing golf with him and they're trying to break 50, or John Daly or whatever. It's just like it's the personality coming on display. But I would say what's really cool right now is a lot, dude. There's been moments like legit, like God will speak to me through like long form conversations, like especially in the ministry space right now. Like it's just for me to, even as a young guy, to get to sit and hear like, I'll just shout out like Rich Jr., to hear him talk for like 2 hours straight and have conversations. Like I'm just learning so much about how he's dialogue, the questions he's asking, and because of that, there's such a benefit to my soul and to my leadership because of those long form conversations. So I think depending on what you want out of it, they might not be as engaging, in the sense of like, fast, it's getting my dopamine hits and my but it is for, I think, the long term, you're building the right thing. You think you'll win them with what you build it with, and I think that's what I'm drawn to it. I mean, I listen to so much long form content, it's crazy, so I think what you're doing is great, bro. I think this is really cool,
bro. It's so much fun, and I appreciate you taking the time. Like, I'm excited to do this again with you. And maybe the next time we do it, either pickleball or golf has to be included.
Yeah. Or we'll go surf. We'll get waterproof.
Oh, bro, that would be so fun. Matt will paddle out with us, right, Matt?
We should do that.
Oh, let's do it. Let's do it. Maybe in like February or March.
Cool.
Dope.
Love it.
Love you.
Love you, dude. Thanks for having me on.
Dude, thank you.
Appreciate it.